In this video, I'm going to teach you how to draw curved objects in perspective. And so what you see I have set up here is I've actually put a layer of tracing paper over top of my 1-point perspective that has all of the boxes extruded on it because I wanted to be able to kind of separate this from the rest of my drawing. And so what we're going to do is start by taking a really close look at this pendant light in the box that it's shipped in. Now, what I'm going to do is just go ahead and slide a piece of white paper in between my layer of vellum and my tracing paper, just so that you can see what's going on. Now, I've done some pencil work on top of this just to kind of help you visualize the process, but I also want to draw your attention to some diagrams here. Now, to begin, I have drawn the box that this thing ships in, and if you can see on the very front of the box, I've actually got the pencil, a dark thin pen line here that indicates the critical point that we marked earlier, which is the 6 inches up for the thickness of that drum shade. Now, you can see a little pencil arc behind, and I'll talk about that in a second, but right now you just see a horizontal line running all the way across. Okay, now the next thing that you can see is I've also ran a horizontal line on the front face of the box that this light shipped in to indicate the location and the thickness of the escutcheon plate. So those are the first two things that you can see if you cover up everything here and you just focus on the front face of that box that is shipped in. Now what I want you to do is concentrate on the underside of this box. Now imagine that on the underside of this box, it's a square, of course, because this is a 2 by 2 by 2 box. Imagine that this is painted on the bottom. And what you can see here is this is the outline of the box, right here. And the first thing I've done is I have to figure out, in order to get the rest of all these arcs to come in to make the bottom of the light fixture, I actually have to plot a bunch of lines first. So the first thing I have to do is find the midpoint. So in order to find the midpoint of a square, you create diagonals from corner to corner, and their intersection point is the middle of that square. And so you can see here, it's very thin, but you can see here, I've drawn a line here and here to create that X down the middle. And it's created an intersection point right there where the end of my pencil is. Now the next thing I need to do is draw this line. Now this line is actually created by starting at that middle intersection point, and then you grab a ruler or a scale ruler, whatever you've got, and you connect that point to the vanishing point. And then all you do is extend the line up to the front edge of the box and back to the back edge of the box. And that line right there that you create is this line right here. Look at how foreshortened it is. Okay, so once you got that, then the last thing you have to do is create this horizontal line right here. And all you do to create that is, again, put your pencil on that center point and use your T-square and draw a perfectly horizontal line to the left and right. And that's how you create this. Now the next part is the hardest, and that's where you have to draw really, 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 really tiny curves, and it's really hard to do. All you have to do is you just have to get a little bit of that corner right and a little bit of this corner right. And you can see here, it's very lightly I've drawn it. And that's all that you can really do to indicate that this object is curved. Now, where you find the farthest edge of that curve, it's actually right here. It's right over here. From there, you draw a vertical line up, and that's the actual edge of the drum shade itself. And you can see here, that little piece left over here is the side view of this piece right here, okay? And the side piece of this right here. And so that's how you draw the curve. Now, the underside of this, it's so hard to draw because it's so foreshortened. So you're gonna have to trick your viewer's eyes just a little bit. And so all you need to do is just draw an ever so slight curve on the bottom of that pendant light here and a slight curve on the top as well. And sometimes it can help to use an object that's curved, and you can kind of move it up in the screen, sometimes using this to show how much curve you need to add is helpful. And you can see here, I've got this flat cylinder, and sometimes I use this to tilt just to kind of give me an idea of the curves that I need. Now, what I've done is once you erase some lines and you just have your critical lines kind of remaining that are going to indicate this pendant light, you can see it's going to look something like this. So this is the ellipse here that's been drawn in perspective down here. These are the vertical lines that are on the outermost points, top and bottom here. Now notice, if I go straight vertically up from that intersection point here, straight up, that's actually where that chord comes down. So if I go straight vertically up here, then it's going to hit the middle of this escutcheon point. Now, or escutcheon plate. Now, to draw this, it's the same process, but you just have to draw an extra little thin box and a bunch of series of X's and lines. But again, it's so foreshortened that it would be futile because you really wouldn't end up seeing hardly anything. And so what you have to do is just kind of fake it just a little bit. And so all you have to do is just bring that subtle curve to indicate that it's round here and here, and then a really subtle curve at the top there, and then vertical lines here and here. Now, it's going to be, because this object is to the left of the vanishing point, it's going to be slightly distorted, but it's going to look something like this when you're done. And again, it's what we call like a subtractive process, where we have this box and then we start to pull pieces out of it in order to get this shape, and then we just erase what's left over. Now, the only other thing I want to caution you against is to be very, very careful about not over exaggerating these. This is the slightest curve, really. A lot of times I see beginning design students really come up high like this, come up real high like this, and it ends up being, you know, it's more obvious that it's a curved object, but it's not correct. And a trained eye would know that it's kind of over exaggerated and draw your eye right to it. So that's how you create it. You always have to figure out whether it's the top on a table, whether it's you know, the front of an object or the underside of an object. The critical part of drawing something curved in perspective is to always figure out what face you need to do this treatment to, and then just go ahead and draw those objects. And then really the trick is to get to really practice softening those curves so that they don't look too curved. And that is how you do it.